Hello, dear friends. My name is Kathleen Whitehead. I am normally channeling on this YouTube channel, but I have begun a process of interviewing some special people that I feel like I have the honor of having met and people that I know. Today we have Sharon Smith. She is what I consider a super mom, a very special person. She has a lot of magic in a lot of different ways. But her biggest magic is she has three children who are adults, but two of them are nonverbal autists, and she has devoted her life um, in loving them. That's all I can say. She does whatever loving thing she can do for her children and her family. And I am honored to have met them. I went back today and found our first correspondence, which was 5 years ago. I accidentally found it, by the way. I wasn't looking for it, but of course that was information that I wanted to know. It was in August in 2020 when we first met, and around this time in October, those 5 years ago, we solidified, I would say, the friendship.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's been 5 years, and what I have noticed was your love, your dedication, your mission. And I guess what I'd like to know first of all is tell us what you can about suddenly being the parent of your first child and then your second and third child and finding that they would need you in special ways. And
Yeah.
just share what you would like, because it takes someone very special to do what you do.
Well, thank you. Well, we go back to September 1995. So our oldest just had his 30th birthday. And so as new parents, oh, turn it down. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Okay. So sorry about that. That's my husband. Okay. So our first one, we didn't know any better or anything. No, let's see. Quinn was pushing, our oldest son is Quinn. He started pushing one of those little lawn mowers. He was like 7 months old or something, and we're thinking,
Ah,
oh, when's he gonna walk? Not realizing, okay, that's super early.
it is.
And but the communication wasn't coming out. He started saying MEMs, for M&Ms. That was first word, chocolate lovers, and I'd be like mom, mom, to get mom and like dad, come on, say mom first. And let's see, it was by the time he was closer to two, so 18 months old. So actually did start walking little before 10 months old, so a little early for milestones. But the talking, it was just a couple of words at 18 months. And then at 2, he's like, I made a mess with water. It's like, oh, boom, there's language. It's like, okay, we're caught up, so not looking at autism or anything, at that time. Until the second was born in February 1998, and that was Noah. And same thing, he wasn't talking, wasn't coming to his name. If you call his name, he wouldn't come. Um, Runny nose since birth. And so it was, let's see, right before, if it's milestone 2 all the time, right before his second birthday, we were going to have his tonsils and adenoids out. We thought, oh, he must not have been able to hear. And meanwhile, Adriana was born 22 months after Noah. So getting the timeline, December 1999. So when we had Noah's tonsils and adenoids out, he was a little guy. He wasn't even on the charts yet. And keep in mind, I have large children, so he wasn't on the charts yet. And right after the surgery, he shot up like 6 inches and 10 pounds. And so then he was, on the bigger side of the chart. Meantime, 9-pound baby Adriana was catching up to Noah. So people always thought they were twins, 22
Mhm.
months apart. And let's see. So yeah, communication, babbling for Adriana. Noah was speaking echolalia, so he would repeat things. Right now, he doesn't use his voice, but I'll explain that later. Um, let's see. So Adriana, I always say she came out as the hand flapper, and
Mhm.
that's still what she does today. So that was a noticeable sign. So this is when the diagnosis comes. Adriana was closer to, I guess about a year, because they weren't really diagnosing until at least 18 months, closer to 2. I think even before that, it was like 3 years old. But Noah was the first one diagnosed. And then Adriana was unofficially diagnosed. And then looking at the chart, it's like, oh, look, here's Quinn on the what they would call the higher functioning, which was the Asperger syndrome. So it was boom, boom, boom. And so the Quinn was about 6. No, so I guess his was a little bit later. And then Noah was, I think, 2.5. And then Adriana closer to that 18 month. And from there, yeah, a little crazy. I started staying home. I had worked before that. But I would start watching other children, because when I would watch other children, it's like they would go home and then it was just my 3. And then it's, oh, this is easy. Let's see. Through school, Quinn was always the one, more the not really troublemaker, but he would have to get used to the classes, that kind of, he was mainstream. And but he would get in trouble, like the first couple of days of school all the time, because it was a new environment and all of that. Where Noah and Adriana were in the life skills classes because they didn't communicate. Noah was the runner, and so he would escape. He escaped the kindergarten center, and we lived next door to the superintendent's secretary. And so she found out right away. The superintendent was not happy that, Noah escaped, and with a hostage, we like to say. There was another little boy. And yeah, so those kind of things would happen. So we knew he was smart. He knew how to do things. And it's like you would hear all these people, nonverbal, and it's like, oh, they don't know anything. It's like, well, that's not true. They were very smart. One of the weird things we would play, because Noah would hide and stuff, like, where's Noah? And he's like, Noah's gone. Well, now in hindsight, we're like, oh, a little creepy. At the time, it was cute.
Ah, I,
So
it,
let's see. So feel free, jump in at any point. I'll like talk about when we moved to England after that. That's kind of a jump, but so my husband Joe worked for Rolls-Royce. He just retired, and we had an opportunity to go to England. It was in 2008. Quinn was still, let's see, he was what, middle school, and the kids were still grade school. And we looked at England, and they had a lot of autism schools. Well, they also had asylums that had been changed into autism schools. And so it was like, okay, you've got the mother of all autism schools, but when we got there, it just seemed so severe and so clinical. It wasn't right. So we found an autism center within a school system. So that was nice and that was doable, and still better than what we had, in the States, where it would still just be a classroom and they weren't really going anywhere. But this one, they took them on field trips and different things, and really nice. And there wasn't a wait. We waited 14 years for services in Indiana just to get like outside speech therapy and that kind of thing. By that point, I'd already started my Autism Foundation, which I'd done in 2011. So right when we came back from England, just seeing the difference on what they had there for services. Quinn was in an all boys school, uniform school, and he wouldn't do a lot of things on paper. But he was verbal, and he would answer the questions if they were pertinent, if they were relevant. And so they knew over there how to work with him. But I kept telling the teachers, okay, when we get back to the States, he's going to be starting high school and he's going to have to put things on paper.
true.
So, that was a little different over there. but just learning everything, seeing how it was just a whole different world over there, coming back, started the Autism Foundation, and then started going to disability fairs and things. And I would set up just as the mom of three all along the spectrum, and just asking those questions. And yeah, the communication, we found the facilitated communication, which was the letter board. And
Let me ask you
yeah,
something. It sounds as if you knew very early on that the diagnosis and the accepted way of thinking about autism
yeah.
was wrong.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, because
That
ours didn't
you,
fit in anywhere. And it's like they have the same diagnosis, but it's not the same children. And we would go to these disability fairs or events, and ours would stand out. And it's like, but a different way of standing out than other kids, especially Noah, because he was just running all over the place and he knew exactly what he was doing, where he was going, and he would look you in the eye. And
yeah,
yeah, I guess I didn't mention he didn't get an initial autism diagnosis. It was pervasive developmental delay not otherwise specified, PDNOS. And it's like, okay, he's clearly autistic, which means something completely different at this point, now that we know. But he would take your face and look at your eyes, and it's like, now we know he was looking into your soul. We had no idea. But yeah, it was a long road. And then when we found the facilitated communication, it's like, okay, why doesn't the mind and body connect? What is that? We didn't hear that word apraxia until maybe even a year after we started with the letterboard. I was feeling for productive muscle movement, and Adriana, she was the first one to do it, and she said, "This is a queer process." And the person with her, what does she mean by that? I was like, that's her. We lived in England. She thinks it's weird, because otherwise it would have looked like the person was, taking her hand and pointing her to it. And so, it's like I knew I have to learn this technique. And they're like, oh, you'll feel. No, I don't feel. I have no idea. Where do I put my hand? What do I do? And then in the meantime, Noah had been using Blue's Clues, Veggie Tales, things like that as part of his conversation. And Adriana kept saying on typing, should say type your thoughts. And then it finally clicked. And with some other professionals, he started typing his thoughts. And it's like, oh, wow, this isn't the little boy we know. This is some old man with all this information. And it was just mind boggling. And it's like, oh, we found something. And then it's like, oh, but nobody believes it. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah.
it seems to me that what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, and what I have seen from you is that you did not accept what everybody else felt was
Yeah.
autism. And you
Yeah.
had three very different children, and
Mm-hmm.
each one of them you gave what you needed to give them
Yeah.
and kind of let them lead you to what they needed.
Yeah.
And I think that you gave them that, which gave them a better start than people who did not necessarily, who were basically led by and believed the societal definitions.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against anyone else, because
Yeah.
we all have been led to believe certain things about all certain different types of diagnosis.
Yeah.
And but you believe better, and you saw things, you watched your children more so because of your love and your magic. I believe this is part of your magic, because for instance, as
Mm-hmm.
an empath is going to just naturally feel what someone needs,
Yeah.
but not necessarily know that they're feeling. It just almost bypasses the thought process. It's like, I know they need this thing, and I know that this is not valid or something like that, and they go with it rather than someone saying these people fit into something different from what you fit in. I'm
Yeah.
trying to be very careful of how I describe them, because I think what people who, with any kind of disability, have been pigeonholed,
Yeah.
and there's certain language that's been used
Yeah.
that labels them, and these folks clearly don't fit those labels.
Yeah, that's exactly right. People would say, "Oh, you don't want your child labeled." Well, if you don't get the label, you don't get the services. And then when you're waiting 14 years for services, it's like, okay, what was the point of that? And then with the empath, you think, oh, mother's instinct. Well, special needs mom's instinct have to be a little bit higher. And it's like
Yes.
the more special and the more broad, it's like, okay, and so then, when I started watching other children with other disabilities, it's like, okay, comparing notes, what's similar to this, what's similar to that. And people would be like, oh, don't compare your children with others. It's like, no, no, you need to do that so you can figure out what's going on. It's just a whole different level of thinking.
Yeah.
It's like you weren't doing it to be like, oh, that kid's better than mine. It's like, no, what can we do to help each other? How can this child help that child? And well, especially with our oldest with the Asperger, it's like he's lacking in the social skills that Noah and Adriana have, but they don't have the verbal skills. And it's just, yeah, it's crazy.
So were you introduced to the letterboard? And first of all, you
Yeah.
have used two words
Okay.
uh, that are technical words that not everybody understands. I can't.
Apraxia was one of them. So apraxia, that's that mind-body disconnect. They have a verbal apraxia, which is kind of like where Noah was using, echolalia. That's another one. So echo, you're echoing back. And so it was repeated phrases, blues clues, Disney, just phrases, from that. My favorite example, we were at Red Lobster and all of a sudden Noah goes, tofu, seafood, tofu, seafood. It was a VeggieTale little song. It's like, oh, he gets that we're at Red Lobster and those are, how he related. And let's see. So yeah, the apraxia is why I'm having to feel for the productive muscle movement. When Adriana or Noah point, I'm holding back, pushing back, and they're pushing through. And people think you're pushing them into it, but it's no, I'm giving that resistance and also keeping them centered on the board. Um, that's something complicated. It looks different with every person too. And then now there's different letterboard, spelling to communicate, which S2C, rapid prompted method, different things like that. But the facilitated, I'm thinking that one is the oldest one, came from like 1978
Oh,
from Australia. Yeah, and there were like two or three big phases. I think in the early 90s came to the States, but there was a lot of controversy because, I mean, you have to trust the person, that they have good intentions, that kind of thing, because it's your word against theirs, that kind of thing. There was a court case and it got thrown out. So then jump to 2017 or 2016 when we started. It's like, oh, look, it's another phase coming in, and all the questions we had about, okay, is this real? Are they pushing them into it? And all these questions, they'd already been through all that, and they warned us, oh, you can't talk about this. And it's like, how can you not? Because I'm going in innocent. I have no reason to put words into the letterboard or anything. But on the other hand, Noah was reading my thoughts as I started doing. They're like, "Oh, it doesn't work that way." And it's like, well, it is working that way, and Adriana's not doing it. So then I'm dabbling with everybody else, and it's like, okay, they're not, but they are, and it's like, okay, then it gets complicated. So I understood the problem, but
and you started the Autism Foundation,
yeah.
Sharon's Webs,
Uh,
Sharon.
Sharon's Web. Yeah, that was 2011. That was before the communication, before the energy. It's just because we'd been to England. we had, dabbled in all these different things. And it's like, I've got three that are so different from each other. And it's like, I know I can, give my examples. Here's what we've done. What do you see that I'm doing differently? Or, how can you help me? And it's just that give back and forth. And it gave me that opening so I could go in as a nonprofit and get a decent booth price and be able to go to the conferences and things. And so now I'm doing that on a different level.
True, but you've been spreading the word and
Yeah.
supporting folks like your children
Yeah.
since that time. Well,
Oh,
much
yeah.
before that,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
you
yeah.
brought
Even
it to
before
other
that.
people,
Hmm.
you brought it to other people rather than just your
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Yeah, it was always
tell us,
about getting people together. So
yes,
even when they were kids, it's like, okay, you couldn't do like normal kid things. I mean, you could, but the playground had to have a fence,
right.
you because Noah was such a runner, and then Adriana should be the one like chasing a butterfly, and so it's like, okay, so I got to have eyes on everybody. So then if you pair them up with other kids, which later in high school they had best buddies and unified track and things, so they're paired up, but you got to have those other kids that you can trust, and also do things that are fun, and just see what they could do, what their interests are, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm.
So each of your children has a different personality,
Mm-hmm.
and you've described Quinn,
Uh-huh.
but if you were to describe Noah and Adriana, tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about what the difference between those two, because what I want to emphasize is that you
Uh-huh.
had to be three people.
Yeah, with Noah and Adriana, people thought they were twins. And when they were little, they would kind of feed off of each other, and we chalked it up to, I would talk to somebody about this today, 22 months apart, Irish twins. Well, when Noah did use his vocals, he would sing, and it's those nursery rhymes. And I can think as far back as when we were in England in 2008, one would be in one room, the other would be another. One would be singing, and then the other one would be finishing the song or singing the same song. It's like, how do they do that? They're not speaking, but they were, on the same wavelength. Noah was always the runner, the escape artist. And well, Adriana wouldn't let her out of my sight to give her a chance to do that because she was the baby girl, and at least Noah had some language. We knew it wasn't completely functional, but it wasn't not functional. And so, yeah, so the echolalia. Oh, and then someone just a few years ago said there was called palalalia. So it's like echolalia, but it's more conversational. So I'd have to kind of look back at that. So we didn't learn these things initially, and it's like, why not? Because that was definitely what they were doing. Who were the people that had this information? It wasn't the doctors, you know. Um, but yeah, Adriana, more of a mommy's girl. So she would be, and she still is, clingy to me. And then Noah's just, running away. Or at the pool, he was the one splashing everybody, or he would untie, bikini tops and things. And it's like, oh no. And it was fine when he was little, but as a grown man, it's like, yeah, he can't do that kind of stuff anymore. So he was more ornery, I would say. Yeah. And then Adriana's just a tough little girl. Oh, she always liked the playgrounds and slides, but she liked to be at the top of the slide or at the bottom of the slide, and she would wait for people to run into her, which is, yeah. She liked that pressure. She likes the big bear hugs, and she's a tough girl. And it's funny because Noah's a little more dainty, like on the high fives. He's like, and then Adriana's boom like this. It's like brace for it. So yeah, they're very different from each other. Yeah.
So I met you 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Is there anything else you would like to share up to that point of 5 years ago? You said that they started their communication
Uh-huh.
practice
Yeah.
in 2016.
Yeah, 2016. And so 2017, we moved to Hamilton Southeastern High School, which they were at Plainfield before that. And of course, the UK, well, actually, it was Plainfield, then the UK, then we came back. They went to Daymar, so it was a Daymar charter, so it was for autism. And that one, it's like they didn't fit in there. Noah escaped there a couple of times, and it's like, okay, that can't happen. So then we went to Avon thinking, okay, it's a should be a better school system than Plainfield. I mean, as far as, housing and all that and the education. But when we got there, it was shortly after that that we found the facilitated communication. And we even had a master trainer come in with us to the IEP meeting. And they said no, because we can't touch them. So the only school that you could go to was an hour away. So we moved as fast as we could, because Adriana and Noah, they were already 15 and 17. And actually, by the time we got to the school system, Noah was 18, and they're like, "You're going to move a senior?" It's like, no, he's been in life skill all this time. So now he gets to take regular classes, and they did. They went from life skills to regular high school classes. I mean, it
And where
was
was that? Where was that?
Hamilton Southeastern in
Okay.
Fishers. And so they had a student like them before, but he had died. He'd had a seizure, but his twin sisters were still there, and his mother was still there, helping out with school things. And so we had immediate people, that we could talk to, and they only took, 3 classes a semester. And because it was tedious, they had to have someone with them to facilitate. And but then the pandemic came, and Noah was aging out anyway, and so they didn't have time to graduate. But then, as we were finding, it's like they already knew everything, and it was just, I mean, they could easily go get a GED, but what they're doing now, it's like, why? Yeah, why go through all of that? So yeah.
Have a different mission.
Yeah, different mission. Yeah. And I mean, they had that mission going into school. I mean, the teachers were really learning so much about them and everything. It was wonderful. They made a lot of good friends. And so,
That's good to know. That's good to
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Um, I know a little bit about kids that really need some special attention and how a lot of traditional schools aren't able to provide
Yeah.
whatever that attention happens to be. But so I want to share when I met you guys.
Hmm.
It was, now, first of all, I think everybody knows on my channel, but I'm a medium. I'm a light language speaker. I'm a channel, and I feel things and I see things and I know things, and I don't always know just what they are or why. Um, and I didn't have any of this stuff until essentially I accepted these things when I was 65. I didn't even know anything about it until I was 60. All of that said is when I met you guys in 2020 and I met Noah, especially, we had a connection and I
Hmm.
saw his soul rather than his autism.
Yeah.
Now, at that time, his autism, sometimes his body just did not cooperate. He
Yeah.
wasn't able to move fast, or
Uh-huh.
he was not able to really, you couldn't be on a schedule.
Yeah. And we're still like that sometimes. It's like if he's over energized, it's like, yeah, he needs some support. It's gotten a lot better. But yeah, there's still that.
But I will never forget that, because it's like, no, there's something more here.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was something more in your entire family.
Yeah.
And then, at that time, that's when I went on my adventure
Hmm.
living it, it was COVID. I was living in a camper, and going a few different places and so forth. And you even came and visited me at my
Yeah.
camper when I was in Greenfield. But so in a way, we kind of separated a little bit, and I went on my merry way, and
Mhm.
then we come back, and I've always told people I saw his soul
Yeah.
when I met him.
Hmm.
And then we had some experiences where your father came in and where there just different skills.
Yeah.
And it was really a magical time,
Hmm.
but the magic was going to come. And Noah always said something about being a rock star.
Yeah.
And the thing is, then we hear of the telepathy tapes,
Right.
which has changed the attitude or the knowing of
Hmm.
so many people
Yeah.
about people who are autistic
Hmm.
and their telepathic
Yeah.
abilities. I'm working on being telepathic. I think
Mhm.
I am, but I just don't recognize it
Yeah.
because as a channel, I'm getting that, but I don't get it in hearing words.
Yeah.
But just recently, I did hear Noah and Adriana
Yeah.
contact me, and
Yeah.
maybe somebody else. I haven't, it's so much has happened since then in my life, but it's it is something we can do.
Hmm.
And autistic children, and I think in terms of even, not age, but
Right.
autistic and many different labeled
Hmm.
people
Yeah.
who they're really children because they're so innocent and pure.
Right.
And that's something I've always known is that they could be 50 years old, but they're children because
Yeah.
they're still so pure and authentic, and they're not troubled by politics
Right.
and separation kinds of things. But so since the telepathy tapes, and both Noah and Adriana have been part of
Hmm.
that, and I've seen on um, Pam Gregory's interview with Veda
Hmm.
Austin,
Yeah.
they have talked about it, and it's just so spectacular. So tell us a little bit about how obviously life has changed because you've moved away.
Yeah.
You've moved to close to
We're in,
Chicago
yeah, we're in
and
Illinois. Uh-huh.
in Illinois, and you've been going all sorts of different places and had some really exciting adventures.
Yeah,
And
we have.
your work up to this point
Uh-huh.
as the mom of three autistic children
Hmm.
is blossoming into the mom of three possibly rock
Rock
stars.
stars, yeah. I don't know
And
if you can hear Adriana in the background. Oh, now she stopped. She was doing one of her little chanting. I'm waiting for her to come back in here. Yeah, initially we were doing what I call, our psychic fair tour, which was, Indianapolis. But I always tell people you introduced us first in Louisville. So my story on that is, Noah took me to Indianapolis. I'm like, why isn't Kathleen introducing us, in Indianapolis? And that's when we met Amy Gillespie Doherty, and she's the lead author of The Ancestors Within. And this was in the pandemic. We go in, Noah's like, "You're going to be so out of your element, Mom," which I was. And we waited in line for Amy, and I'm like, "Why are all these people at Amy's booth?" Well, she's from Virginia, so she was the outsider and very popular, does the ancestors in your eyes. And she looks up at Noah, and she does one of these, and it's like, and they always feel the flutter in their heart. And I think it was at the next show in Louisville where she sent me a text and she said, "We want Noah to be in our Ancestors Within book." It's like, what does he know about ancestors? And I'm like that on everything now. What does he know about? Well, he knows everything. He remembers everything. And but just such a highlight. So anyway, the tour was Indianapolis, Louisville. We would do, you know, all those shows, and then we started adding Cincinnati, Florence, Kentucky, and made friends over there. Uh, and then moving to Illinois, it's because Joe retired and we now have a house on a lake. We could have never done that when the kids were little because that's the first place the
Yeah,
wanderers go is the lake. And so I tell people, yes, if you come here, you're going to have plenty of people watching because I'm the paranoid mom. So I'm not going to let anybody out of my sight. I'll make sure they're paired with everybody. And but this house is cheaper than where we were in Fishers. That the lake is twice the size of Geist, and we live like 3 or 4 blocks over from the lake, you know, in our house in Fishers. And this one's on the lake and it's huge and it's cheaper. So it's like, okay, we're in the middle of nowhere, but it's still 3 hour drive, easy drive to Chicago, where been doing some more of the fairs and things. But now people can come to us. We've got extra guest rooms and we're ready. But one of the biggest adventures I took just Noah to Ashland, Oregon, just a few months ago. And then we went to Seattle in the same trip. And that's where we were working with Veda Austin's teacher at the University of Washington. They've had healers working on water that they put under the microscope and trying to cure cancer and different things. And we're waiting for the publications to be released because when Noah went, they saw a big difference from the other healers, and they're trying to figure out how to explain it. So second trip brought
I want
Adriana. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I want to let people know
Yeah.
that Noah and Adriana are both practicing healers
Healers. Yeah.
now also,
Yeah.
and they are able to generate energy and channel energy that
Yeah.
is healing.
Yeah.
And when it always works on me, and I just it knocks me over. It's really
Oh
powerful.
yeah.
But that's something that we didn't mention, that is
Yeah.
that they're healers.
Yeah, on
And
episode
that
10 of the telepathy tapes, it's just like a 1 minute segment. And like healers based in Indiana. And I'm like, oh no, that's like opening a can of worms. But we just moved. So the people that have found us are the people that we're supposed to. It's been the shamans, the holistic practitioners, which is how we ended up in Ashland, Oregon, working with one of the doctors out there. And it was just an amazing experience. So I didn't know it was going to be so profound that next time I usually don't separate Noah and Adriana because, like I said, he's the ornery one. So if he
yeah,
doesn't have her to ground, yeah, strange things happen. So yeah, I always like to have my support team. So no matter what show we've gone to, I always know some other healers or definitely empaths, you know, people that can help feel that energy. So no matter where we go, we have someone. One example, we did Akron, Ohio. It was just a friend's metaphysical shop. It was we went out for Joe's 45th class reunion, and the shop was just a couple of miles down the road. They said, "Oh yeah, we'll host you." Had about 15 people, and at the end, Adriana just walked out to the car. She'll do that. Her energy's just fine. Noah's just like, ugh. And so the medium, he's like, Noah, can I help you ground? He's like, yeah. And so we have yeah, I think you saw the video of that. It's like,
I
oh my
did.
gosh, I don't realize, you know, how powerful, you know, but everybody was there to see him. Yeah.
And interestingly, when I first came into the energies that I carry that
Uh-huh.
cause my body to do all sorts of things,
Yeah.
when people would try to ground me, that just made it worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, then I'm really uh
Yeah.
bouncing around.
And that's
But
how Noah was initially too. You know, it's like you couldn't touch him, you couldn't be in his field. And it's like, how do you even help him? And
yeah,
so it's all the people that can feel and they're used to it. And then he's older now and can do a lot of that better. But it's just, it's a lot, you know, trying to, especially from my perspective, trying to understand. And so I always, you know, think back to you in the beginning because you were the one that really helped us through this phase. Yeah. And the light language, I always go back to you with Adriana. It's like, oh my gosh, all the vocals she uses. Sometimes it's just the toddler songs, but other times it's a chant. And then it was at one of the Louisville shows where the Crystal Skull was there and the caretaker, and she went into a light language. The caretaker went into a light language, and he's like, you know, come back to our session free. It's like, you got to meet Noah. Because it was always, yeah, if you think this is special, just wait. Yeah.
well, they're both special in
Yeah.
their own way. And I enjoy speaking light language with
Mhm.
Adriana.
Yeah.
Um, Neither one of us understand the words, but what I know, what we know is
And you
that it's
feel it.
going directly to our hearts.
Yeah.
And it is a language that our souls know.
Exactly.
And so I always enjoy that. I am awestruck by the things that are coming out now,
hmm
which I always say, I knew, I saw his soul.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the depth of what they know and the telepathy and so
Yeah.
forth. But and the other day when I channeled
Uh-huh.
Noah,
Yeah.
I need to be doing that a little bit more. But
I think that's his plan for you. Yeah. He has missions for everybody, you
yeah,
know. It's like,
yeah,
and it's always in the perfect timing, you know, divine
yeah,
timing. Hmm
yeah. And right now for myself, I'm wondering what else I'm going to be doing, but I feel big change. I have
Oh
said
yeah.
to many people that I am in the mush of the chrysalis. And I think many of us are.
Uh-huh.
Almost everybody is. Some people know it, others don't. But I'm so confused and I know I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that there's stuff that I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But so your life has changed considerably.
hmm
The lives of most of the autistic children
Yeah.
has changed considerably.
Yeah.
My I you know I say to people, have you heard of the telepathy tapes? Because that's actually a really good way of
Yeah.
being introduced to this whole concept.
Yeah.
And
It is.
then you branch out to Veda Austin and
Uh-huh.
other people. It's like there
Yeah.
are important studies being done now
Yeah.
that that really show us the connection,
hmm
the the how little we know about how powerful we are.
Oh yeah. Well, that's so one thing we went to in Chicago. This was exciting. It was the IANS conference. So it was the International Near Death Experiencers. And I didn't realize what a connection. I knew we had met a couple of people that had had the near death experiences, and they connect really, really good with Noah and Adriana, or one or the other. And this whole conference, it was all these people that could connect. And the keynote speaker was Dr. Diane Powell, and she's the lead researcher for the telepathy tape. So as soon as we were invited by one of the other speakers that Noah had had a meditation session with, and so we had surprised him at his session, and then went into Dr. Diane Powell's. And I was able to watch the replay because it wasn't just in Chicago. They had, was it 800 people that had registered on the website so they could watch all the videos. And so at the end of her presentation, we were in the question answer and they almost didn't get to us. And the audience is like, there's one more, because they knew it was Noah. And I'm like, yeah, this is Noah Smith. He's met Dr. Diane. It's like, you remember? And she's like, of course I remember Noah. And it's really cute on the video because she's smiling really big because yeah, she talked with him for like an hour and a half, our first meeting. And this was probably a year before the telepathy tapes, because that's what she does, is this research. And it was a 4-day conference. And like I said, the energy was just amazing. And they had researchers for telepathy, for autism. And we got to meet all of them. And Noah promised to visit a lot of these people. He took pictures with the people, and it's like he and Adriana were the celebrities. It was just amazing. And they were just so respected. And that's where Adriana gets excited, because
Yeah.
otherwise she can get kind of loud and, for a non-speaker, but once they connected, she was just focused and on it. Yeah.
I thought Veda Austin, when she was doing her
Hmm.
uh, visit with Pam Gregory,
Yeah.
I thought she explained
Uh-huh.
Adriana is going to be making some sounds, and
Yeah.
this is just part of it,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
I
I
love that.
think
Yeah.
that, yeah, I thought she
Uh-huh.
did a good job there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
people are really good about explaining, because a lot of times she's shifting the energy. It's that vibration in her voice. And it's like the people and that's kind of what she's doing in the other room. She's behind Noah. He's still working with someone in there. And it's like once they understand that, it's like she just beams, because she's like, yes, this is what I do and this is how I do it. Yeah.
and they know, because of their connections with the beyond,
Hmm.
whatever that happens to be,
Yeah.
um, they know that
Yeah.
they are supposed to be doing this stuff.
Hmm.
Um, I can understand that because I know I'm supposed to do what I'm doing. Each
Yeah.
of us has our thing. You have known
Hmm.
always that you were supposed to be the mom, and the deep love that you have shown, and you
Yeah.
always do it with a smile. You might have some
Told that a
days that
lot, but
that's
yeah.
not.
Oh, when they were little, oh gosh, it was hard. It was really hard sometimes, but it's like it wasn't hard for a long time. You know what I mean? It would just
Yeah.
be moments that it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get out of this? And then it's like, okay, I can do this. And then now we're at a point where it's like it's pretty easy most of the time, because it's like, okay, they're doing the scheduling and things just show up and donations come in to cover whatever expenses. And it's like, this is nice, you
And
know?
I do not want to discount Joe,
Yeah.
your husband, and the father, because
He's the
he has,
roadie. We call him the roadie. And it's like, yeah. And so, yeah, driving up to Chicago, that was just a 1 day. He didn't want to stay overnight. So it's like 3 hours up, stay for an hour, 3 hours back. But we had friends there and made some new connections. But he is on the lake and he does go fishing, not as much as he, wants. But then it's like, you have the opportunity, you can go. But he says the kids drain him, and he's the one that never really felt the energy, but they borrow his energy. So it's like, well, good. Welcome to our world.
yeah, he might need to orchestrate a few rules about that,
Yeah.
because I know from my experience, I have to I have to watch, because this energy, if I just let it all come in and let just it's draining, and I
It
sleep a
is.
lot. And
Yeah.
I know I have some visitors who've
Hmm.
been very um, verbal, not
Uh-huh.
verbal,
Yeah.
but they certainly make their
Yeah.
presence known.
Yeah.
But it's all part of it.
Yeah.
And I know that Joe has been part of this all along,
Yeah.
because he had to support you in order for you to be able to do what you needed to do. And
Yeah.
it's very clear how much he loves his kids.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
he's very gentle,
mhm.
and I think that that Adriana might have a little uh, daddy's girl in her too.
She does. She's clearly mine, but it's like I get
Yeah,
jealous if she cuddles with him, and she knows that. So then she'll come over. And, yeah, you always see her doing my chin,
yeah.
and and then Joe has the beard or the stubble, so she'll just touch and run away. But she's so fun doing that to other people. You know, it's like, oh, if she gets your chin, you're special. Yeah, not very many people.
But what do you see? How do you see this evolving? How do you see? I know you've been involved in the telepathy tapes
Yep.
and some studies and
Hmm.
there's going to be books and so forth that
Oh
you
yeah.
are involved in. Uh,
Hmm. Yeah,
what do
lots
you?
more studies. Yeah, the continuation on studies and the different researchers that we've met. And then just yesterday and today, well, we finally switched our doctor over from, so we were driving 3 hours to our doctor appointments. And we were looking, and there wasn't anybody open in Decatur. And so we looked at Springfield, which is just slightly less than an hour. And this one, it mentioned holistic. And it's like, oh, and with insurance, it's like, okay, that's cool. And she was
Very
beautiful,
nice.
which, Noah, likes that. And we went there yesterday, and she was already a big telepathy tapes fan.
Oh, cool.
And yes, and so she was like fangirling the whole time, and it was so cute. She's so nice. It's like, yes, we will be friends. And so some collaborations there. And she has a lot of friends that are on that same wave of thinking. So it's like, okay, maybe we're drawn to Springfield for a reason because we still have our, quiet resort type place here, but it's close enough where we can do, some of those collaborations. And yeah, there's a lot of things on the healing side of it. Noah's always very interested if it's something unusual. So when we were in Ashland, Oregon, we'd met with his name's Dr. Chris. It's Dr. Chris Chlebowski, and so it just goes by Chris because, easier. But anyway, Chris brought two of his clients with him to the big presentation that he and our friend Kara Curry had done. And Noah looked at the patients, but then he gave Chris the upgrade. And it was like, oh my gosh, so validating because it's like, Chris is holistic, he feels, and he's the first one that had reached out on Instagram right after the telepathy tapes came out. And I thought, oh, all these crazy people are going to write. And he did. And I looked him up, and it's like, oh, wow, he has a book out. He has this big practice. He looks like the real deal. And he is. He's taking care. He's not taking any new patients, but he does take care of Noah. And we meet all the time on Zoom calls, and he sends, supplements and different things. But Noah helps him with his practice as well. And
Sure.
so he even has an 8x10 of them together on his desk. He sent me a picture of this, and I was like, who's working for who? I think Noah's the boss on that one. But yeah, just connections like that is just amazing. So you'll hear of people on the news. There's a little girl in Springfield that I saw on the news that has like a childhood Alzheimer's. And that's kind of what, in
Oh,
my mind, and I'm getting the chills because it's like, okay, can't be my idea, can't be my thought, but it's just being drawn to Springfield. And it's like that Alzheimer's seems to be the same type of thing as the autism, and it's just that mind thing that it's like, okay, that could be a good project to, see if there's anything we could do to help. So I'm hoping that'll just fall out without reaching to people, but
sure. It seems to me that the autism is a gift that allowed Noah and Adriana to find their real purpose.
yeah.
And that's not to discount all the things that they have to go through and you have to go through,
Yeah.
but uh, it's they're meant for
Hmm.
something more.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm eager to follow along, and who knows? Who
Mhm.
knows? I'm glad that we have this connection. I would like to, if they want, I would love to interview both Noah and Adriana if they would like.
Oh yeah,
Um,
they're always up for that. It'll be my voice, of course, but
sure, sure,
they're
but
always there.
I think I think it'll be obvious who is speaking, only because you're such a gentle mom.
Uh, well, what they do on the letterboard, and they've done this almost from the beginning of our typing, they will talk for each other. And I don't always know who is talking, but if it's Adriana, sometimes it gets really like she's fighting off Noah on her body. But other times she's doing it because she's so excited. So it's like, all right, but if it comes out XOXO, that's always Noah. If it's OMG, it's always Adriana. Uh, but one of the weird things, well, because they are mediums as well.
Mhm.
When we were at the near death conference, a friend of a friend came, and Noah's looking up me really weird. And in fact, Sunday I saw that mom again because he said Noah wants to say hi, and I'm like, why are you in third person? What? And then the parents started crying. They had lost a Noah, and I'm like, how old was he? And they're like 19 months, which made sense. Noah looking like that. And he did that over the weekend. And then we saw the mom again. And it's like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. But, and I think about you on that, where you said your face will change sometime. He's embodying these people. And usually he's embodying adult males, either a father or a husband, but never a baby. And it's like, wow. Yeah.
That was one of my first experiences when I had a baby's face.
Yeah, yeah,
That was cool.
yeah.
But so what else would you like us to know?
Oh gosh. There's so much.
True, true.
Um, yeah, it's I guess the biggest for me is it's always the parents, because parents are proud, they're doing everything they can, and it took me a while too. Took me a while to believe. I always say I have to pretty much be hit over the head for these, and I kind of was, the way everything was. Or you'll get one parent that believes and the other one that doesn't, that kind of thing. So it's just, I really need people to be open minded and believe in their children. They'll always say, presume competence, just assume they can, and just give them. And Adriana's the best example of that, because if someone is talking down to her, although she's very gracious about it though, because people will still do the sing songy to special needs, but then she'll come up. Actually, it was today. Yeah, today at the doctor appointment, it was the nurse practitioner, and she's kind of sing-songy. And Adriana said, I want to thank you for assisting me today. And then that's when the person realized, it's like, oh, she didn't know who they were. The doctor knows who they are, but this one didn't. And Adriana was just smiling because she knew she meant well. But it's just, those parents, it's like, I would always try going up and, communicating with them. And then now it's like, I don't even have to assist with the hand, because the kids are telepathic. So I can get it through my own children. And it's like, you just have to believe. It's like, we're not selling you anything. Just listen to the telepathy tapes. And there's so many other moms like me that are like, oh, the one was, I think it was episode 3. They talk about a shared consciousness. It's like, oh, that's what they're doing when they talk for each other. And when my dad came through the board, and Noah started throwing himself on the floor, which is when it's like, yeah, I need to know what this is. That was, creepy. And even though it was my dad, he was very bipolar, never diagnosed. And it's like, and yeah, he still comes through. And
Good,
but yeah,
good.
different,
I, I
crazy
think
things.
I think we all, including me,
Hmm.
need to be educated
Yeah.
and trained of how we interact and
Hmm.
how we understand. I'm awestruck, but because I'm awestruck by things I never knew.
Yeah.
But I'm awestruck sometimes by my own stuff too. But
Yeah.
but the hill. We never
Yeah,
talked about the hill,
the hill.
and
Yeah,
I think that's really interesting, but it really makes sense
it
because
does.
we are all connected. We are
Mhm.
all one. We're having individual experiences, but
Yeah.
it's like water and trees and
Hmm.
whatever other beings
Yeah.
there are.
Yeah, all
Um,
energies. And that's the thing, they communicate with all energies. And we've asked them about the hill, and Noah says he's more of an overseer. And they'll talk about, the people that have to be pure of heart. We were kind of talking about that, earlier, where they're all just, pure. As ornery as he was, he's pure of heart.
oh,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and people that we've met that have been able to visit the hill, it's very validating because Noah and Adriana are like, yeah, they were there, they're pure of heart, they're, helpful, that kind of thing. And it's just, and I'm always like, well, can I go there? And I think I'm pure of heart. And it's like, I think they probably said I have been there and I just don't know. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'll wait for my turn. But
It's kind of interesting. I'm a Bigfoot believer and
yeah,
experiencer, and that's one of their criteria.
pure of heart.
They got to
Yeah.
know your heart.
Yeah.
And I think there's some other beings that are with me
Uh-huh.
that, and I know that my mission is
Hmm.
primarily to be love.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and to communicate, I guess.
Yeah.
I seem to be led to be doing that. Well, I think we've probably had a pretty good
Oh,
time
yeah.
here, and I want to thank you. First of all, thank you for even knowing me.
Aw.
And I find my daughter asked me the other day how I know all of these different interesting people. And I don't know. I don't know. It just happens. It
It
just
was meant to
happens.
be, or we've known from another lifetime, is what I'm
True,
finding with
true.
Noah. Yeah.
But I mentioned to her when I first learned about Bigfoot and went to the first conference, and we don't keep in touch anymore, but and didn't really. But I met the head of the science of cryptozoology in Russia.
Wow.
It's like, what?
Wow. Yeah.
And just there have been different times when I meet people
Yeah.
and they are important to me, but
Yeah.
they have a mission. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I feel I know that you guys have a big mission,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
the rock stardom is already here, but it's gonna get bigger. So
Yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, I love all these connections and different connections and more important people. It was funny. I was thinking the other day, it's like, yeah, we're little, think about being a celebrity or something, but it's like, never thought about being a healer, or a guru, a shaman. And it's like, yeah, this is way more cooler. This is rock star. That's what he's talking about. Yeah.
you know why it's more cool? Because you can be your authentic self.
Exactly. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't have to put on a mask,
Yeah.
you just are.
Hmm.
And that's much more comfortable and
Yeah.
you know, and I don't have any attachments to being anywhere. I have very small
Yeah.
group. In fact, I posted a video the other day, and so far there's been no views.
Yeah. It'll happen.
It,
It's just,
if
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
supposed to, it
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. It'll be for the
Maybe
right
that was
people.
just
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just for me.
Yeah.
And it's all okay. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. We're finding it's like, it's not about the masses, it's about those tight connections and then having those connections, go out and do the work. Just like when he heals the healers, heals the doctor and give them that extra boost. It's like, wow, that is very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not trying to take work from anybody. And so
Yeah.
with our new doctor connection where she's the fan, and I'm like, well, yeah, you'll connect, with our doctor out in Oregon and, do some things. And she's like, and I've got a whole bunch of people that would come to your house. And it's like, yeah, we can do that anytime. So, yeah.
Well, what else, what final thoughts would you like to share?
Well, if you haven't had a chance to meet Noah and Adriana, we tour around, meet us, meet them, meet friends like them, give everybody a chance, especially the non-speakers and but anyway, oh, and then definitely visit the spiritualist shows. And that was something that, people didn't understand, that Christian non-denomination. Well, I guess I should mention this. And we had a friend that was being harassed at a metaphysical shop, and he's a minister. But it's like, and this was supposed to be a Christian, and we had that happen one time at one of Jeffrey's shows too. And it's so backwards from what you'd think. It's like, no, this is, it's about love. It's about the good people. And it's like people get that backwards, just like with the autism. They think, oh, something's wrong with the autism. No, they're spiritually connected, and we just didn't realize.
They just
Yeah, it's a whole different
have
world.
other gifts, other specialities.
Yeah,
So,
they're still God-given gifts and yeah,
and
yeah,
missions.
missions. Yes.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for this time that you've spent with me. And thank you for being you. As I said in the beginning, you are a super mom, and the love that you give to your children has brought them where they are.
Thank you. You're a
And
big part of this, so I'm glad to do it. So
okay, well, I love you all.
love you
Tell the
too.
tell the kids I said hello, and Joe, and that I'll talk to them another time.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All I have to do is figure out how to